Hey, do you teach yoga? Have you ever trained to lead yoga classes, to be a yoga therapist? Have you ever owned a yoga studio? Maybe even just wondered what it was like for the women and men up there in front of the room on their mats, leading you through endless Surya Namaskars, down dogs, and pranayamas galore? Well, these are their stories, and mine. I'm Rebecca Sebastian, a 20-year yoga teacher, 10-year yoga therapist, yoga studio owner, and co-founder of a yoga-focused nonprofit. I've done a lot in the yoga world over the last 20 years, pretty much everything except had a water cooler. You know, a place to share stories, talk about struggles, successes, and find other people who do the same thing that I do. Welcome to Working in Yoga, a podcast and substitute water cooler for yoga folks to connect and build community, to share our unique profession, our challenges, and our journeys with the world.
Hey friends, welcome to Working in Yoga. This is a super anticipated conversation that I had recently with Andrew Tanner. Andrew is the founder and CEO of American Yoga Council, which is the new yoga organization working in the United States. Now, I know a lot of y'all have had questions about what they do and what their mission is, so I just asked Andrew to come on the podcast and explain it to us. The purpose of this episode, this podcast, isn't to do some kind of gotcha journalism thing where I try and push people about yoga organizations. My intention with this interview here is to give you all the opportunity to hear from Andrew what his company's about. So we cover what the American Yoga Council is doing for studios and yoga teachers and yoga therapists and yoga schools. That way, you all have the information you need to make a decision if you need to make it. Now, as an aside, based on that Yoga Alliance article that I posted for Inside Yoga magazine a few weeks ago, I started working on an article that's kind of adjacent to that for the magazine about our cynicism of yoga organizations at large and where this comes from. I have this working theory in my brain that our industry is part counterculture and part deep individualism that prospered in the 2010s and part, honestly, recovery from a bad relationship. Yoga as an industry is something that a lot of people enter into, believing that it's going to be different. Somehow it's going to be more loving and caring and kind and nurturing. And then once people start teaching, they find out that often it is none of those things. And there's this sense of betrayal, I think, that we all carry when we figure that out. And when we figure out that we don't have institutions or major organizations going to bat for us as workers. And then we figure out that the people who teach at the studio down the street are a lot meaner than we thought they would be. So I have a request for you. If you have thoughts about why we feel so cynical about the organization and the industry at large, go ahead and drop me a message. So I set up a SpeakPipe, which is essentially a space where you all can leave me voice messages and tell me what you think. The link to that SpeakPipe is in the show notes, so go there, click on that link, and leave me all of your thoughts. Now, of course, before we begin the interview, y'all know the drill. I'm going to remind you that liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast is a great way to support me and my work. So if you could do me a solid and do that, I would be very grateful. Now, I don't want you to wait any longer. Here it is, my conversation with Andrew Tanner. Hey friends, welcome to Working in Yoga. I feel like actually this might be one of the most anticipated interviews I've done in a while. Andrew Tanner on the podcast. He is the CEO and founder of the American Yoga Council, which is now this organization since I've started talking about the orgs that I'm not even kidding you, Andrew. I'm not trying to flatter you. So many people have dropped comments and DMs what do you think of them? So Andrew, first, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Oh gosh, well, first, thanks for that awesome introduction, Rebecca, and it's an honor to be here. I've been falling in love with all of your writing recently. I know we've met earlier, but I definitely I'm just so excited to have this conversation. As you mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of American Yoga Council. I'm also the co-founder and director of the Berkshire Yoga Festival, which is a festival out in the Berkshires every year. It's pretty fun. And I've been in the yoga industry for 25 or 6 years. I've owned yoga studios. I've been an independent yoga teacher. I've run the School of Yoga and Ayurveda at Kripalu. And then I've been both a volunteer board member and later an employee of Yoga Alliance. And then I also did 2 stints at software companies in the middle of all that. So I have this weird yoga. My whole life has been yoga, and I have this really. I've had a very blessed and lucky career as a yoga person, but the common thread or theme has been I care deeply about the industry, and I think you and I nerd out on that.
Totally.
And yeah, and I really want. I feel like my dharma is to help the yoga industry to have like a renaissance and take it to its proper level of maturity, and that's what I'm trying to do with American Yoga Council.
Okay, so can we talk first what the devil is the American Yoga Council? Just tell everybody, what are you trying to be the Yoga Alliance? Like, what are you trying to do for us?
Okay, American Yoga Council is a public benefit corporation, which means we do pay taxes like any other company, but we also have a public benefit in our charter that we are required to, put above financial interests. So, for example, 50% of the revenue that comes in is earmarked for 40% to teacher and schools and 10% to kind of a give back fund. What we're building is a membership organization to support the profession of yoga. It's a directory online. It's very modern and cool technology. It's like our mission is to help yoga teachers make a living doing what they love.
Because this is something that is again popped on my socials for like strangers are asking me this question. What do I think of a B Corp? Now, okay, so you defined it as a public good. It is in the charter of your organization that you are giving a percentage of your revenue back to the people, and then another percentage is going to the public good. Can you just address two things that I think people don't understand? Number one, that a for profit company can actually do good things for the world. And number two, that's not like a super easy thing to get. It's not like Michael Scott at the office being like, I declare I'm a B Corp. And that's what happens. Like there's work
Yeah.
involved in that.
So getting B Corp status takes a long time. Like we're
Yes.
still, I mean, gee, just getting SOC 2 status is really hard. That's like a security stuff that we have to have for our website. And so it is a private badge given to companies that are proven to be for the public benefit. There are, a lot of people ask me, why aren't you a nonprofit? And I've worked for the two largest yoga nonprofits in the country between Kripalu and Yoga Alliance. And I just saw so much like, and God love them, I love Kripalu, but like there's Kripolitics or in Yoga
Yeah.
Alliance. I mean, it can be extremely bureaucratic and hard to make decisions. And in order to build this from the ground up, I needed the freedom to make hard decisions every single day. And so to me, it wasn't an option. Also, I think that there are a lot of companies doing that are for profit that are doing amazing work. And I think there's a lot of nonprofit companies, therefore not paying taxes, doing crap. And the very fact that they're sitting on millions of dollars and it's so I think that distinction is a moot point personally.
Yeah, I just like I wanted to hear you say it because I actually don't think the general public, the people listening, have an idea that A, it's not easy to get a B Corp. Like it's not something that is just you're just gonna decide one day. There's like a whole process that's involved. And then I think our brains have this idea, nonprofit's good, for profit bad. And it's such a nuanced conversation that I wanted to hear you say. Like it's not just as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, for example, if I had tried to do this as a nonprofit, first of all, I'd have to raise over $1 million to get a nonprofit about yoga started. Everyone else who's tried to do that has failed.
Yep.
Second of all, when you raise money from people for a nonprofit, who you're then the board becomes full of the people that gave you the money. And so they're in
Yeah.
charge anyways. Actually,
Yes.
as a for-profit, I was able to raise funds and I have, I have effective control of the organization. And so me and my actual team, the people doing the work, are actually in control of the company, unlike a lot of nonprofits that are controlled by their board.
Yes.
So that was like so I think it's just really flipping things on their head a lot of times. And, you know, you basically large nonprofits that do get started are typically bankrolled by organizations that are entrenched in
Correct.
these big um, in bigger issues. So to me, it is not. I think that how you can judge how I want to be judged is by the service that we provide to teachers and studio owners. And I hope that, people join us. Yes, people will join us to get certified, and we do certify teachers. But they're going to renew their membership because they actually get value out of the membership. And so I think it's a simple relationship.
Okay, I want to separate some of like what your vision is for a few different buckets of yoga professionals. Okay, so the first bucket I want to talk about is a bucket that I know you're personally very passionate about, which is yoga studio owners. So tell me if you're a yoga studio, tell me what it is that you're doing for yoga studio owners, which I have been, as you know, they have a hard road. So tell us how you're helping or not helping them. Like, yeah.
Yes. So first of all, I think it's that the yoga studio owners, in my opinion, are the most important people in the yoga industry. Um, I think that the biggest mistake we made as an industry is thinking, oh, we're going to take yoga and bring it into hospitals and bring it into them and bring it into that. And like we have 16,000 yoga studios in America. And we haven't tried to help them become healthy businesses as a community. Like in other words, as an organization sitting at the core of yoga, like I like to joke, like we want to place ourselves in the Sushumna Nadi of the yoga industry. How should we build out from the center? Well, if yoga studios were thriving businesses, then yoga teachers would be making more money, then, more people would be doing yoga, and they'd be doing it at spaces that are more equipped to for them to do yoga. I'm not saying I love that there's yoga at the Y and there's yoga at schools and all these places. That's great too. But yoga studios are super important. So I used to own 6 yoga studios. I've written a book on helping yoga studios with their business. I've coached hundreds of yoga studios. So AYC membership for $216 a year for a studio includes monthly business coaching that is of the highest caliber that I used to charge thousands of dollars for. We also do have an accelerator program we built. It's a 3-month business boot camp that's very that's very proven, and we've already had over 30 schools go through it and has yielded incredible results as far as like growing your membership and being able to pay your teachers better, and employ your teachers. And um, that is a paid program, but for members only. And I have a mission to eventually, like if I had a whole boatload of money in the bank, we could use that to give grants to yoga studio owners to improve their
Yeah.
business. Like, we're still growing, so we can't give things out for free, but um, just the 12 coaching sessions a year that are free for members, I think is a huge value. And I take calls every day with yoga studio owners who thank us for that. And it's all in
Is,
our on-demand library as well.
is yoga studio, I actually can't believe I don't know the answer to this question. Is a yoga studio designation separate? I know you have a lot of badges. Is that like one of your badges, or is
So
it
we
just
have
your
we have
person who has a studio?
two membership types, or three, I should say. You can join for free and just put your face on the map.
Right.
And then you could list your bio and you can list who your mentors are, so that later when we do our family tree of yoga, you'll be included in that. That's all free. Second level is premium membership, which includes that's $108 a year. That you get a more robust, like basically your own little website. So you get a landing page that you can submit your credentials to be verified. You can list workshops and retreats that you're running. They'll go into our directory. You can list on-demand courses that you've created. Those will go into our directory. And then if anyone lists you as a mentor, you'll earn a revenue share through that. Then there's a pro account, which is 216 a year. That gives you a premium account for yourself as a teacher, plus it gives you what we call a school account. And or it could be a studio, a yoga studio would use that. If you have multiple locations, you can add additional locations for $50 for like multi-location studios or whatnot. But if you're just, let's say that you are a yoga teacher that offers a teacher training and you offer it maybe once a year on a retreat in Wyoming, and then you also offer it hybrid, and then you also offer it as a mentorship. With us, that would just be 216 a year for your personal membership and the school. And then you'd pay a one-time fee to have that teacher training accredited by us. And it doesn't matter how many locations that you're offering it in or the formats that you're offering it in, that's all included. And you can promote the training in all those different formats on the directory. We charge one-time fees when you either verify a credential or when we accredit a teacher training program. And we most recently launched a specialty standard. I don't know if you saw that yet.
I did, yeah.
That's kind of our response to yoga therapy, because
Great.
I think that yoga specialist is a better career choice than yoga therapist.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And we do that. It's much harder. It's more restrictive to be recognized as a yoga specialist in our system. It requires a portfolio review similar to yoga therapy's old grandparenting policy.
Yeah.
But it's also simpler because it respects whatever your path was. And then then you can create a specialty and create programs with that. So I hope that was clear.
Yes,
Sorry.
actually, you covered a couple other buckets. So, yoga therapy. So, my audience, a lot of people are talking to me are yoga therapists because I'm a yoga therapist and I got super loud about their organizations a couple years ago. So, you do have an answer to the yoga therapy question. You're just calling it something different. I've had entire podcasts where all we talk about is how the word therapy is such a problem. It
Yeah,
really
my eyes are
is.
getting big in agreement.
Yeah, like, because it is really a problem, and we're attached to this idea of therapy when really it makes things so much harder for us than it needs to be.
I think that people love, like the idea of therapy has a lot of gravitas to it, that I'm a
Correct.
therapist,
Yes.
because yeah, to be an actual therapist, it's like a master's degree and it's licensed profession, etc. And so I think the community wanted yoga therapy to be this respected thing. And then they thought that that would translate into them making better income. And you and I both know it
Correct.
doesn't.
Yes.
And honestly, the reason that it doesn't is that the people that are into therapy are of a certain socioeconomic class, and
Yes.
they are going to go to therapists. And adding therapy as a term to yoga, it doesn't actually make it more likely that the average Joe or Jane is going to want to study with you. It actually probably scares them off more than people realize. And so I just think I'm a big believer that we have to solve economic problems. We have to create better economic situations for everyone if we want to improve the profession and the outcome and everything. Um, and so again, specialists in the age of the internet, if I have a specific problem, I want someone who can solve that specific problem. I don't want a yoga therapist. I'm not looking for a
Mm,
yoga therapist. No one's looking for a yoga therapist. People are looking
no.
for someone that can solve their problem. So us, we might have we have a standard called specialty badge called Yoga RX, but you have to choose what are you treating within that huge specialty. And by the
Yeah.
way, some people don't like the name. I had someone later, we're open to changes, but it's like if you have a background in helping yoga for insomnia, and you can prove to us that you
I do.
have that as a specialty and that you have years of experience teaching that, we can recognize you for that and then accredit your program for that. Now you can bring my accredited Yoga RX program for insomnia to a hospital, to a community, and people have insomnia as the problem they're looking to solve.
Yep.
And so I'm a big believer that specialties can be a game changer for yoga.
Yeah, that's actually, I can't believe we've never talked about that because really, I agree with you. I mean, there is so much semantics behind the yoga therapy community that just drives me crazy that actually taking that word therapy out of it and being like, look, there's something to the therapeutic application of yoga to a specific individual, which is a lot of words that mean something very different than yoga therapy. Like
Right.
specialist is great. Yeah, I actually really like that. Yay for
And
that.
just
Good
just
job.
I will add, especially for your audience, I know your audience is sophisticated in this area. On our website right now, if you go to the standards page, we launched version one. We call it V1 of the specialty credential, and we are currently seeking input. And we will be
Oh,
seeking
that's
input for the
interesting.
rest of the year. Um, Having worked at nonprofits in the past, I saw how they could spend so much time gathering input and never taking action,
Yeah.
and then finally taking action and everyone being pissed off. And what we're doing is we're taking action, we're seeking input, we're running it a little more like a software company in that respect, because I don't think we have the time to go so slowly on this.
Yeah.
So I would love it if your audience would give feedback on those credentials that we put out. And there's a little form that people can fill out if they want to do that.
Ooh, okay, so we're gonna link that in the show notes, friends. We've bucketed out studio owners, we've bucketed out yoga therapists. So when you answered the studio owner question, you also added yoga schools, which studios and schools often come together, but not always.
And they can be
And
different. You don't need to own a physical location to be a school. Similar to
yeah,
Yoga Alliance, I would say.
so
I would
tell
say
me,
our business coaching, though, is more geared towards studios, although we'll be launching a teacher and like independent teacher free coaching that's launching this. It's sort of launching this month, I can say. So, for example, on the 29th of July, the business coaching session is all about how to fill and lead and fill a international yoga retreat.
yeah,
And it's led by our head of credentialing, who he teaches, 9 yoga classes a week, and he makes most of his income from yoga by leading 2 sold out retreats a year. And you can have a really amazing career doing that. And we also have the legal side of that and everything. So that is the beginning of our business coaching for independent teachers. And we're going to add, so we're going to start in August doing 2 business coachings a month, one for studios, one just for teachers.
so okay, that actually answers the teacher question. So there's a huge benefit to teachers. I want to come back to this teacher training piece because I actually think how we train is really critical for us now and in the future. So tell me why a yoga teacher training program. And also believe those people are the people who are most invested in the Yoga Alliance registry because they believe that that Yoga Alliance registered school means something because to the public it kind of does.
Yeah. And is your question like, how do we respond to that, to those people
Yeah,
that,
just like
yeah.
what are you doing to respond to that or to not necessarily respond to it, but how are you addressing that challenge?
Yeah, so it's funny. When we first launched, my go-to answer for this question was, well, look, in other industries, you like in fitness, there's American Council on Exercise, ACE, there's
Yeah.
certifications by National Association of Sports Medicine, NASM, and those have different meanings. And so it's normal for any organization or any profession or industry to have multiple accrediting bodies and for them to mean different things. So yeah, you can be part of both if you want. And I used to say that as kind of like, join us. Like we're going to help you get marketed and join us for all the business benefits. But like, yeah, no, in the beginning, we're now at 600 schools and 2,000 teachers, but a year ago, convincing people to join was a lot harder.
Yeah.
Now, though, I say to people, whenever, like I have multiple conversations a day with studio owners and school owners that can't stand yoga lights. They hear all the horror stories.
Yeah.
And you and you're no stranger to that. Like it's disgusting in some cases how much money they're sitting on and not doing anything for us. And then it's like to go around and have a student ask you, hey, is your program accredited by, or no, they don't even say accredited, they'll say like certified by Yoga Alliance. And then like to answer that and just say, yep, we are, because it's a thing that a checkbox that you have to check.
Yep.
It that is so different from answering it and saying, you know what? Actually, honestly, Yoga Alliance is not a meaningful credential. There's recently a new organization called American Yoga Council. They actually hold schools accountable to the standards that that school is setting. And not only do we believe in their credentialing model over Yoga Alliances, by being a part of our school, you can get a membership to AYC, either a free one or a paid one for half price, and you get your own website and you get all these bonuses that Yoga Alliance doesn't. So that's how I'm flipping the script with people. And I'm saying like I think that we are building an association you can be proud of, and you are the school, you're the one saying what is important and what it's not. And so I think that schools have to be more courageous. Like I'm now saying, like I really am trying to say people like cancel your yoga alliance. Like we have a viable alternative and
Mm.
stand up for something real and good. And I think that especially younger people are more attracted to organizations and they can tell in their gut that it actually believes what they're saying, as opposed to being part of something just to like get a little badge, that everyone says doesn't matter.
Before we keep going, I want to tell you about something I built because it didn't exist and it should have. Inside Yoga Magazine is a trade magazine for yoga professionals, not a wellness lifestyle blog, not a beginner's guide to down dog, a trade magazine, the kind that treats our work as the legitimate profession it actually is. It's digital, it's ours, and it's the first of its kind. If you've ever picked up a trade publication in literally any other industry and thought, why doesn't yoga have this? Well, now it does. You can find it at insideyogamagazine.com. The link is in the show notes. So yeah, yeah, because that drives me nuts too. People will say I pay my Yoga Alliance thing. You kind of have to is always what people say. You just kind of have to. So here we've answered those people, the kind of have to people. The answer is no, you don't. And the
Yeah, and
second,
there's something better and look at, by the way, if you go to the YMCA or you go to any place, so there's 42,000 gyms in America. They hire more yoga teachers than the 16,000 yoga studios, right?
yep,
Many gyms or health clubs, I'm here in the Berkshires where there's many health clubs that hire yoga teachers. Their insurance will require a yoga teacher to have gotten certified by a school that's third party accredited. It's part of the insurance requirement. It
yep,
doesn't say Yoga Alliance in the insurance policy. It says third party accreditation.
yes.
So I have not heard once, and I will give someone a refund if they came to me and said that this is the case, if they wanted it, that if you went to apply for a job and they didn't accept your American Yoga Council standard for that reason, I'd be shocked, and I haven't heard
Yeah.
it yet. So
So
it serves the purpose that people want Yoga Lines to serve.
so I know my people. I know people who are like me. So I have never once paid the Yoga Alliance any single money, and I have worked not once, not ever. I've never been a member. I have worked for the U.S. military. I have worked for Fortune 100 companies. I have worked for universities. I have worked everywhere and made good money as a yoga teacher. Never paid the Yoga Alliance. There are a lot of people out there like me. There are a lot of people who saw that organization and said they're bullshit. So I want to talk to those people because I love you and you're my people. But organizations do matter. Tell me why it matters that you exist and people should support you versus the Yoga Alliance because they do matter and I see it now and I didn't forever.
So yeah, I've always believed that organizations matter. I think we're seeing right now in our country that when institutions become corrupted, like and fall apart, just you get chaos. And I do believe institutions matter, but I also think institutions have to sometimes be disrupted and for like the new institution to come along that is more in alignment with what the community needs. The biggest reason is that an industry does need advocacy. And So eventually, one of our goals is to have a C6 organization as part of what we do. That's a 501(c)(6) nonprofit that can do advocacy work. When I was at Yoga Alliance, I worked for Yoga Alliance at first as a volunteer, and then I was employed by them for a while. I did lobbying in 11 different states to ensure that yoga schools and studios and teacher schools, not just studios, but people running teacher trainings didn't have to pay thousands of dollars to register as a vocational school and be, overseen by some state, bureaucracy that doesn't give a damn about yoga. In fact, I was just on a phone call with the only state that had passed, there are two states that had passed a law successfully to force yoga schools to become vocational schools. And it's always a money grab, by the way. It's really sad. One was Texas and one was Minnesota. In Texas, during that time, Yoga Alliance actually we went in and we actually reversed that law. And that was amazing. And I was
Yeah.
proud to be part of Yoga Alliance at that time. And but I just was talking to someone from Minnesota, literally before this call, and Yoga Alliance's response to her was, well, it's a state by state thing, and that's their law. And they're sitting on millions of dollars and they're not doing the work to support us. So I will say this, that my plan with the 10% of our give back fund is to allow council members to vote on what we do with that money. But I also do think that we will need to advocate for ourselves. And by the way, for-profit companies can also do lobbying.
Yeah.
So we don't need to be C6 to do lobbying work. And so if we don't have that kind of organization, I also think there's other things like state employment laws and things like that. You know, if you want the industry to grow, yoga hasn't been growing, by the way. Yoga's
No.
growth has stalled since 2025. And I believe a part of that is that there's no one in the center of there's no Sushumna Nadi
Yes.
that's doing the pranayama, that's doing the breathing to actually feed the system. And this 200-hour system is kind of broken. It dumbs down what it means to be a yoga teacher. It doesn't tell the public the difference between one school and another. And so the public just thinks that every yoga teacher is the same.
Yes.
And honestly, I really think that paying your dues to an organization like AYC is a way to give back to the yoga community. So right now we're being very transactional. If you join AYC, you're going to get great business coaching and business support, and we're going to give you a directory listing in our website that we promote. That's beautiful, and we also serve the function that Yoga Alliance has been serving. But a year from now, I want to be doing much more community work. And we can't do that until we have the actual funds to do that. We have to get to about 2,000 schools. We're at 600 and something right now to be really in the financial position to do meaningful work, in my opinion.
I'm going to add another piece to this conversation because this is the thing that's been stuck in my brain about why organizations are important. And this is partially you and I have had this discussion of industry data, and you and I are both very nerdy about the IBIS or IBIS world data. And one of the things I want to point out is that yoga teachers individually tend to think we operate in a vacuum. It's just us, and we can create whatever we want to, which, to be frank, suits my personality very well. But we're not in that vacuum. And if a business needs access to funding, they're not asking you, they're not asking me, they're asking the Yoga Alliance, are we a viable industry? So the organizations that represent us matter.
Oh, and access to data.
Yes.
When I worked for Yoga Alliance, I first brokered the deal to remember there was the Yoga in America study originally done by Yoga Journal.
I do,
Okay.
yes.
Yoga Journal had no money. Yoga Alliance did. I brokered the deal to bring the two of them together and helped rewrite the study back in 2012. Then we did it again, I think 2 or 4 years later. It was, yeah, and we started doing it every 4 years. So 2016 or
2017.
27. Well, we did it in 2016. It was supposed to be
Okay,
every
yeah.
4 years, but came out in 2017. And then then they did some study again in 2020. I was not there for that.
You did?
But they
Yeah.
didn't ask interesting industry questions. They didn't get to the important stuff anymore. Like, how much are yoga teachers making? Like, what is appropriate compensation? Like, everyone wants to know these things. Like, and it's because no one in leadership at these organizations has run a yoga studio or has made their living as a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
And so, if we have an institution kind of for us by us, like we're going to gather that data. We actually have we're currently we just finished all of our version 1 of our app, like building our platform. It was a huge undertaking, hundreds of thousands of dollars of development, engineering, et cetera, to build this competency-based credentialing system. It's now done, and we're like literally taking a pause on new features, and we're doing research. And we're interviewing. In fact, we can give another link in the show notes if you
Oh,
want.
yay.
If people want to, they can fill out a very short questionnaire, and then we're going to pick 12 people of different backgrounds and awarenesses and whatnot, and we will pay them to do an interview with them. We'll pay them $75 for their time, and we're going to be doing research on. Well, first of all, one of the questions is what's been your average pay range as a yoga teacher? It's like such an
Yeah.
easy question that no one's ever asked at a big level. But the bigger research is what features and things do you need us to do as an organization? Because we want to get stuff done that is going to be meaningful for yoga teachers. Sorry,
So, okay. So I have like 1,000 things, but I want to
I
rein it
know.
back.
We're like, if I feel free to cut me off if you want to like give me a little finger wag or
Oh,
whatever. I'll slow down. I'm sorry.
I think the thing that I want to give you the opportunity to is answer questions that I'm seeing the general public ask because I so yeah, have you ever met somebody who has been in a really bad relationship and like so we're like broken. We like just broke up with our ex-boyfriend who like called us up and they were like, we were going to go away for the weekend, but now we're not. And so now you hate everybody. I think that's like an entire industry of people for their yoga organizations. Like we've kind of been in like this abusive relationship with yoga orgs.
Yeah.
And so there's so much cynicism out there at the idea that an organization could help any of us do anything. I think so many of us are to the point where they're like, they don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
So my first question people say is American Yoga Council is an MLM, so it's got to be a scam. And you got to answer that question.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I think that yoga teachers that are making it without any yoga organizations, good on them. And like, yeah, like the reason to join wouldn't be for that. It would be because you believe in something bigger than
Yep.
yourself.
Yep.
But when it comes to like people call us, we used to get that more in the beginning, people saying it's an MLM. Anyone I think that actually attends an open house and understands how the system works, I think they quickly realize it's not. Um, first of all, the reason people say that is because if someone joins AYC and they list you as a mentor, or they say that they graduated from your school, and we verify that they graduated from your school, we give you a revenue share of their membership dues. And we use like a Spotify algorithm where it gets distributed. They can list up to 5 mentors, and we would split the revenue share into 5. And so that part's completely, I don't think like it's not like that mentor has to buy stuff and then sell it to people. And also it's not multi-level. It's not like, okay, well, that person studied with Kino McGregor and Kino
Yeah.
studied with Patami Joyce. So now I'm giving
Yeah.
money back to the grandfather. Like, no. It's one level up. We're working on a feature where you can like choose who gets it. We might even make it so you could choose that it goes to a nonprofit or something. Um, but the reason we built that is because I wanted to build an online platform that was not monetizing attention, right?
Yep.
So Instagram or any of these other platforms, like they are monetizing attention. Their revenue model is ads. And you are their product. Your data is their product. We wanted to create a platform that rewarded the people creating value on the platform, which are the people creating teacher trainings and creating programs,
Mm.
the yoga teachers. And the longer you've been a yoga teacher, the more people that have studied with you, the more value you've created in yoga. And so we wanted a way to reward them. It'd be like if YouTube gave 40% of all their revenue back to their creators, which by the way, I can tell you it's way less than that. It's
Yeah.
like less than 8%. Um, and having a background in tech, I wanted to build a tech company that didn't have greed as one of its core values. So as I wanted the yogic value of Asteya. Like you look at Yoga Alliance, like they're sitting on $20 million. You know, we're giving back 40% of our money before we even have money. Um, and I would just say, what do you get for your Yoga Alliance membership compared to what do you get for your AYC membership? I think we're giving you more for your membership. And I wanted to build a retirement fund for yoga teachers. Like I felt very sad when I was interviewing friends of mine that were like in their 60s and were amazing yoga teachers who led teacher trainings at Kripalu and other big organizations and had no retirement fund built up, had nothing
You and
built
I
for
have talked
themselves.
about this. Yeah.
So we legally can't call it a retirement fund, but our member dividend that's the spirit behind it. I will eventually want to build up the ability. Maybe we could put that into a 401k. Like there's all kinds of stuff we can do. Like we're literally only 1 year old, like
Yeah.
last month. Um, so but that's my answer to that. It's not an MLM. Like you don't have to buy in and then sell it like some smelling salts or whatever people are doing. Um, yes, we're doing the same thing that Yoga Alliance is doing. We're charging you less money, and we're creating a system where if your people stay members because they value our service, we're going to continue to give you money from that. And yeah, I think there is a financial incentive, so I'm not trying to hide that, but
Sure.
that's our business model. And I don't know what's Yoga Alliance's business model. What's anyone's business model? It's like a referral.
So, okay. Actually, I feel like you did a really good job answering that question.
Thank
Um,
you. I apologize if I feel I get a little frustrated by that because I will just say every investor fought me tooth and nail on that. And raising money to build this was really hard and a lot of personal
yeah.
challenges.
Yeah.
And like they can't believe that we're going to give 50% of the money back. So I'm a little sensitive to that and I got to get over myself.
No, I mean, actually, I'm glad you said that because one of the things that I have said from the beginning, and I know like last year you guys did a launch party that I wrote a bit of an article about. And the first thing I said was, "You're one of us." And I feel like it's important to keep highlighting that you're one of us and that like matters in this conversation, that we have people who are in leadership positions who have actually done this job before and understand what that means for the community. So I'm glad that you said that, because I also believe people don't understand how hard it is to raise money for businesses, and it's really hard.
Right. And by the way, it was the first time I ever raised money too. So
Yeah.
even though I've worked for two yoga tech companies, but I was just worked for them. And then otherwise I've just owned yoga studios and been a yogi. So anyway, I appreciate you acknowledging that. And also sorry everyone for I'll let go of that canker in my tooth.
It's allowed to be there.
All right.
Because I want you to do two things before we go. The first question I want you to answer is, tell me one question or tell me one thing that people aren't asking you enough about the American Yoga Council. Like what are you like, why is nobody talking about this thing that I'm really like excited that people take advantage of?
Um, I would say that we have so many free resources, we don't even have time to market all of them. Like we built another app. We literally built an app called like a yoga teacher business calculator. And it's just like a free thing for members where they can create a business plan that like they just input like the classes they're teaching, but it also takes into account their time, like how much time do they spend getting from point A to point B, how much time do they have to market that event, and it helps them figure out how to have a career. I just think I think our business coaching is so much more valuable than what people realize. So I know people are talking about that, but like I think that's a reason to join by and of itself, even if you don't get accredited. What else people aren't talking about enough is I've only had one conversation on the accountability piece. So
Nice.
we hold schools accountable to their standard, to like Yoga Alliance does not do any auditing of your program except a desk audit before they accredit you, and then you're off to the races. There's no follow-up whatsoever. So how can we claim that that standard means anything? Our system does a actually let me be generous to Yoga Alliance. When someone verifies their credential, then Yoga Alliance asks them on a scale of 1 to 5, how much would you recommend this training? And do you want to give them a public testimonial? We give them a survey that specifically goes into their learning objectives and says, how well did the school do on this learning objective, that learning objective, that learning objective, so that we can give feedback back to the schools and that eventually that can turn into public awareness as well. Like, oh, this yoga school is good for, classical pranayama and yoga history. This school is a great trauma-informed program. This school is a great, fitness-based program or whatever it is. All right, sorry. Last thing that came to me while we were saying that is, oh, shoot, it came and it went. Never mind. It may come again. There's something other big, but oh, the accountability on, like, we just have way more accountability mechanisms built into what we're doing. And I would love more help on how we can use that, not just for the credential, but also on the ethics side as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation that I also want to hear more about from you all because there is this attitude that accountability goes nowhere, right? So you can, I'm sure you've heard these stories too, but I've heard probably at this point more than 30 stories of people who have said, I have reported someone to the Yoga Alliance for unethical behavior and heard nothing.
Yeah. Um, I will, in their defense, I'll say I also hear it's weird. I was on a call today with someone who said they're in their own school and they have a Yoga Alliance hearing because someone said that they were dishonest about how many steps it took to get to the hotel room in Costa Rica.
Oh, goodness.
Now I was a little flabbergasted by that. So I was like, what? Like, what are they doing? Um, I will say that right now we are small enough where literally our whole executive team, we will get flagged if someone um submits like like a 1 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5 for any particular competency, and then we can look into that. But if someone just sends me a random report of their complaints about a yoga teacher, um, we would if it doesn't happen in the training, I don't know what we can do yet. Um, where I'm thinking to go with this from a feature perspective is building a yoga wiki. This is actually an idea that Matthew Remski and I had like years and years ago when he was consulting for Yoga Alliance, which I think it's a great idea. Our core value is transparency. And so I'm a big believer that like people should at least know what other people are saying about teachers, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of legal issues with trying to get justice for people. And but there are not legal issues with freedom of speech and um, creating an app that is transparent so that people can see what make their own choices. And I don't know. I do know that there are plenty of yoga people that have done stuff that's so bad that documented things that we would not allow them. But one more crazy thing, like so many people have been trained by Bikram Choudhury, right?
Mhm.
Bikram Choudhury is a rapist and a disgusting human being. Okay.
Agreed.
But the history of American yoga shouldn't hide that people were trained by Bikram. But a lot of people want to not claim that, like they want to push under the rug.
Sure.
Like, so instead of not having Bikram on our platform, now we don't have to, we would never, I'm saying this here, Bikram cannot make money off of our platform, but um, I think that there should be transparency where he should have an account on the platform so people could link and say, yes, that was my teacher, etc. I don't know if I'm saying controversial things or not, but I think we shouldn't hide from the history of yoga as well.
I think, I mean, it would be interesting to see how that works out because, like, Bikram is I mean, almost you would say is our classic example. It's sort of the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
Uh, However, they're just, if you go to other industries, if you're like a misbehaving dentist, you don't get to be a dentist anymore from the American Dental Association. They're just like, hey, this one's not on our registry.
Oh yeah, I think that we could take away someone's certification. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was what I
Okay.
wanted to say. The biggest difference between us and Yoga Alliance that no one's talking about is that we are a certifying body and they are a registry.
Ah,
When you join Yoga Alliance, you become RYT because you register with them.
yeah.
When you let your membership lap, you are no longer registered by the Yoga Alliance Registry 501(c)(3). And therefore, if you continue to call yourself an RYT, you are actually technically committing fraud that I'm sure Yoga Alliance is not going to go after anyone, but it could affect you if you're ever in an insurance case or any kind of situation where someone was claiming that you're calling yourself an RYT and they're filing something against you. So that was a decision made by Yoga Alliance a long time ago to avoid liability by not being a certifying body. Uh, we are certifying teachers. So when you join American Yoga Council, you submit you can submit your yoga history, and based on your yoga history, we will certify you as one of three levels. It's not just what trainings have you taken, it's how many years have you been actually teaching? How much experience do you have teaching? Similarly, when we become a certified yoga specialist, we are the certifying body. Now, when you take a training, we verify that training, we put that badge on your profile. You pay a small fee for that the school sets as the fee. And the reason that that's valuable is that, let's say I did my training with Rebecca Sebastian, and Rebecca Sebastian is out there teaching in the world. Um, and then
Yeah.
someone loves Rebecca Sebastian's class, and her sister comes and visits, and she says, how can I find a teacher like you? It's like the system
Yeah.
knows the competencies that Rebecca's teaching, and it knows who's connected to Rebecca. And so the people can essentially be finding the right yoga teacher for them. The last benefit of certification is if you join American Yoga Council and we certify you, and then you decide a year later, I don't need this right now. I'm one of those yoga teachers, Rebecca, that your
Yeah.
friends that you're talking about. You can switch your membership to free. You don't get kicked off our directory. You keep the certification that we gave you, and you're still certified. That certification, currently the certifications last forever. Now we might make like a high gold standard certification that would be something that would require peer review and test and all that, and would probably require like every couple of years renewing. But I hate the idea of paying for something and then getting no value out of it unless you keep paying for it.
Yeah.
So, if you're not getting value out of our business stuff and all the things we're doing to make our membership valuable, then just switch back to the free membership, but you don't lose your certification. That's the reality though of Yoga Alliance. You lose your certification and you lose your directory listing.
That is a really good point. I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't think even I had that quite in my head the way that you just said that.
I had to give the person that made us make that policy a reality, because originally we were going to do the stupid thing that Yoga Alliance is doing, which is charging you to be, only
Yeah.
members get to be on the directory. We made a free version of the directory because um, the Satchidananda school, Integral Yoga,
Yeah.
the head of Integral Yoga said that that was a real thing that bothered him about Yoga Alliance because He didn't feel like teachers were getting a lot of value out of it. So why do they have to keep paying year after year?
Yeah.
And so we said, all right, we're not going to repeat those mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, final thing,
Okay.
I need you to be inspiring because, like, okay, so
What? I'm
like
not inspiring enough? Uh-oh. I'm
pull it
too
out from
quirky.
because I do think people need to hear, like, I am also a big advocate for joining organizations that are thinking about our collective future. I'm a collectivist, so I want us to all come together. We have thus far lived, worked, operated in an industry that benefited the individual instead of the collective. But I believe very strongly, as you know, you've read my writing, like we have a very short amount of time to get our shit together before it's really difficult to make this better for everybody.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yes.
like,
So,
tell everybody why we want to come together. Because I know that's a core value of yours. You believe in us.
so do you know who Rama Jyoti Vernon is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. For those that don't know her name, she was one of the founders of Unity in Yoga, which became Yoga Alliance. She was one of the founders of the California Teachers Association. Um, she and Yoga Journal. She
Yes.
did a lot of work. Um, she died in 2020. She used to do work between USSR and Russia and American relations. She did like nonviolent
Yeah.
communication, yoga work. She was a peace activist. And I got to meet her when I worked at Yoga Alliance, and I was like, how come no one at Yoga Alliance talks about you? You're amazing, whoa, and she had this quote that I read, which was, if the yoga community can't come together and bring people together, then who can come together and bring people together? And that always struck me. I was like, wow, like every time we bring the yoga community together, people just argue about like whose yoga is better than the other yoga. There's
So
all this
true.
sad infighting in yoga. And I've seen that in everywhere I've gone, the organizations I've worked for, I would see infighting. And what solved the infighting, like at Kripalu, when I worked at Kripalu as the head of the schools, they were fighting over who got to teach the teacher trainings. What solved it um, was I don't want to say growth because that's such a capitalist thing to say, but like creating a system that was actually sustainable economically for everyone, made everyone's root chakras healed, and then they could feel like they're fighting over scraps. And I think that there is zero, I'm so bullish on yoga because, like, in an age of self-driving cars and AI and all these techno billionaire pieces of crap or whatever, like trying to ruin the world, like yoga is I believe is here to pick up the broken pieces of humanity. And I believe that yoga is actually uniquely equipped to do that.
Mhm.
I also believe in-person yoga is uniquely, supported by online, is uniquely equipped to do that. And the problem is that we have 16,000 places where yoga is taught and that have been designed to transfer yoga, and they're mainly run like 15,500 of them are run very poorly.
Yeah.
Um, And so, if I had the funds that Yoga Alliance had, the first thing I would do is I would set up business coaching. Like I would give I would scale business coaching consulting to all of the yoga studio owners. Because if we do that, then those places will become powerful places where yoga teachers make a living, more yoga is being taught. The yoga studio in my town in Pittsfield has 450 active members. In Pittsfield, Massachusetts, every single class is sold out. Every teacher that teaches there shows up and teaches a sold out class of 25 students. Like, and they're able to then, if they want, have enough clients for private clients, have enough
Yeah.
so yes, if you're super business savvy, you can make it work on your own. If you're a yogapreneur and you're a really business person, you can do it on your own. We'll help you even do it. But if we come together as a community and help these spaces become I hate to say profitable and peaceful, like that actually like churches have so much money behind them, so much history behind them, right? Yoga in America, these yoga studios are just little fledgling spaces that need support, institutional support. If we do that, then yoga teachers will have the institutional support, not just from us, but from their own communities to make a living. Um, and so I believe that's at the core of it. I've seen it. Like just in the accelerator we did, I've had schools that have gone from like 20 active members to over 100 active members in 3 months. Like it's not rocket science. It's called what's the business model called? Hospitality.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But that's just the beginning. Like we can, you know, we can use AI responsibly. Like we're currently in our organization we're able to build stuff. Like we're a very competent group of people in our company. So with less budget, with literally half the budget, we can do more to support yoga. Like I would love to do a commercial for yoga in the Super Bowl, like let's convert people that really need yoga badly into yoga, like I think there's no limit to what we can do together. We do just need to rally behind doers. Like I think you're seeing that in New York City, like, with Zoran, like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a freaking doer,
Yeah.
like they're getting stuff done. Like what happens, it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you are on. Well, that's not exactly true, but I'll say it doesn't have to matter if the people are ethical and actually trying to do something, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that we're an organization that is both ethical and really trying to do something. Like everyone works super hard here. Um, so yeah, please join us and like we'll work for you. That's my pitch.
Okay. Tell everybody how to find you.
You can go to ayc.yoga, that's the short version, or americanyogacouncil.com. We're American Yoga Council on Instagram as well. Please follow us, like us, and you can create a free account on the website. It takes less than 5 minutes. And then uh, I'll happily, when's this podcast going out?
August.
August. So I'll make a code that I'll give to you for your people so they can
Oh,
get like
nice.
30% off if you use Rebecca's code. We'll make the code uh, Rebecca 30. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Um, and yeah, that'll be off your first year of membership. Um, and yeah, I will also add that we are now traveling the country. So I was in Denver and Boulder for the last 10 days. We have plans to go to almost all the major cities over the next year and a half. And really, we're doing like a listening tour over the summer, trying to figure out what new features to build. So the sooner you get involved, the more influence you can have. And we will be doing 2 more council meetings over the summer.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for having this conversation and answering all the questions.
Oh my God, thank you for hosting this and for doing what you're doing. I think the work you're doing in yoga is very important. Calling
Thank
out
you.
the stuff that we're trying to also share your work with others, and I'm really grateful for you giving me this platform to share what we're doing. And yeah, if you go to our site, I'm also anyone who owns a school can get a 45-minute phone call with me as a CEO. I'll happily talk to you and answer any questions that you have about why you should hopefully want to join us as well.
Cool. Thank you again for this conversation, Andrew. As a reminder to all of y'all listening who made it this far, Working in Yoga listeners get 30% off their membership with the American Yoga Council using the code Rebecca30. And I want you to know that I do not get an affiliate kickback. I just want you all to save some money. And I am actively working on an article about our relationship with yoga institutions and organizations. So if you're so moved to tell me what you think, go ahead and drop me a message on that SpeakPipe link that's in my show notes. Next week, For the interview podcast, I have Kelly Atkins talking about all things business and yoga, including her new site, hire.yoga, designed to help us get more work. Stay tuned. Until then, let's go get to work, my friends, and I will catch you around the water cooler next time.